what the black man and woman needs to know about the nation, about the world, about themselves. Muhammad Speaks It. To order your 12-issue subscription to Muhammad Speaks newspaper, 313-371-7033. 313-371-7033.
Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's Teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.
Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, sole Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, the alone that we serve and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is earth to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We'd like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu Alaikum. We have Brother Captain Hakeem and the Minister Islam and the believers in Richmond. We have Brother Jeffrey Shabazz of North Carolina. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. Today we like to talk about the disturbing truth. This was Bishop Nathaniel had a lecture or a video this week called The Disturbing Truth. And he's speaking on the messenger. And of course, he's telling the black man how Master Farad Muhammad was a white man. So we want to make a challenge to Bishop Nathaniel, the same kind of challenge that Allah made to the Jews and Christians during Muhammad's time. This comes from chapter 2, verse 23. It says, "And if you are in doubt as to that which we have revealed to our servant, then produce a chapter like it, and call on your helpers besides Allah, if you are truthful." Yes, sir. Now what does that mean? That means stop talking and produce what Islam has produced. Because during the time of Prophet Muhammad, the Jews and the Christians had the same charges against Muhammad as they have against the messenger. They always called them liars. So Allah made a challenge to the Jews and the Christians. He says, "And if you are in doubt as to that which we have revealed to our servant, then produce a chapter like it, and call on your helpers besides Allah, if you are truthful." Because most people just talking. Because what must stop Bishop Nathaniel and the rest of these fakes failed to realize, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that Master Farad Muhammad was a black man. only did he tell us that Master Farad Muhammad is a black man, he taught us that Master Farad Muhammad is God in person. Yes. But he didn't stop there. He did as Jesus said. Jesus said, ye shall know them by their fruits. He says, does men pick grapes in thorns? Or do they pick thorns from thistles? Any farmer knows that you don't get grapes from thorns. You get grapes from a grapevine. So Jesus said that is likewise when people, you will see them by their fruits. He said, because no bad tree produces good fruit. So when the messenger taught us that Master Farad Muhammad was black and he was God in person, he didn't just show us this picture. Just like Prophet Muhammad. When the Holy Quran was revealed, Prophet Muhammad didn't just reveal the Holy Quran to the people and that was it. It was what he did and how successful he was with the people that caused them to see that the Holy Quran was a true book. Because what Allah is challenging, after Prophet Muhammad, you had an 800-year-long, what is called in history, the golden age of Islam. That's what Prophet Muhammad was able to produce through the revelation of the Quran. Let's go to J.A. Rogers. This comes from the February 9th, 1952 Pittsburgh Carrier. It says, historian J.A. Rogers traces glorious accomplishments of race. It says J.A. Rogers, noted historian. We want to make that fact clear. He was a noted historian. So J.A. Rogers says, Islam, which from the 8th to the 15th century was the greatest conquering and civilizing force in Europe, Asia, and Africa. Now, what does that mean? When he says from the 8th to the 15th century, what does that mean? Century means 100 years. So when you talk about the 8th century, that's from the year 700 to the year 800. That 100 years is the 8th century. The 15th century is from 1400 to 1500. That 100 years is the 15th century. So Prophet Muhammad had an 800-year golden age of Islam. So what does J.A. Rogers means when he said the greatest civilizing and conquering force? To civilize, it means to bring a place or people to a stage of social and cultural development considered to be more advanced. That's what it means when you say something is civilized. Because the Jews and the Christians like to lie on Prophet Muhammad and say he spread Islam by the sword. His civilization wouldn't have been civilized if he did that. It says to be civilized, it says to bring a place or people to a stage of social and cultural development considered to be more advanced. Let's look at what that means in real terms. Let's talk about algebra and algorithms. Because when we use social media, this is ran by algorithms. Where does that come from? This is just a simple Google search. It says Muhammad ibn Musa Al-Khwarizmi, also known as the father of algebra, was a mathematician, astronomer, and geographer. He was a scholar of the House of Wisdom in Baghdad. He introduced the basics of algebra and algorithm still used to this day. So Allah saying, if you in doubt to what we have revealed to our servant, it says produce one chapter like it. Allah know you can't produce nothing like it. So to try to give you a chance, he says produce one chapter like it. Because Prophet Muhammad changed the whole world through Islam. All praise is due to Allah. So what he did during the golden age, or what he caused through the golden age of Islam, we still use this to this day. Let's go even further than that. Let's talk about something we all know and love. How we count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Simple Google search. It says during the Islamic Golden Age, Arabic numerals gained popularity thanks to scholars like Al-Khwarizmi, the same person for algebra. It says these numerals revolutionized math and science, introduced concepts like zero. While bust stop Bishop them dog in Islam, you don't even understand. You use Islam every day.
That's right.
Every time you count something, you use an Islam. Every time you use the internet, you use an Islam.
Yes, sir.
Every time you use algebra, you use an Islam. So it says that Arabic numerals revolutionized math and science. Praise due to Allah. So Allah say, let's quit talking. We heard what you done said about Prophet Muhammad. We heard what you done said about the revelation. Now, produce one like it.
Right.
That's what he's saying. So it says, introduce concepts like zero. They spread to Europe through works like, can't pronounce their name, replacing Roman numerals due to their efficiency and simplicity.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yes, sir.
So we say the exact same thing to bust stop Bishop. Produce one like it.
Yes.
Because when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, he didn't just show us the picture. He didn't just say, look, this guy didn't go back home. He didn't do that. Because today, we're not going to waste time trying to convince you about why Master Farad Muhammad is so light complexion. We ain't wasting time on that today. We want to talk about producing one like it.
Yes.
Because when the Holy Quran is talking about produce one like it means like it means the same, under the same circumstances, under the same conditions. Produce one like it. Because we ain't telling Bus Stop Bishop to produce one like it in 2024. That wouldn't be fair to the messenger. Because he don't have the same circumstances, the same conditions that the messenger had to deal with. So we just asking you, produce one like it. So since we saying produce one like it, we just gonna choose one city in the Nation of Islam. Just one. We gonna choose Atlanta, Georgia, to show Bus Stop Bishop what we talking about when we say produce one like it. Because you can't talk about Atlanta, Georgia without talking about my most favorite white man in the world, J.B. Stone. I love J.B. You might think it's crazy. When I first discovered J.B., I read that article in 1957 when J.B. responded to the Messenger. That's the first time I became acquainted with J.B. So me being me, I say let me use the World Wide Web to discover more about this man they call J.B. Stone. Now in this picture, or in this YouTube, it says J.B. Stoner discusses the 1958 bombing of Bethel Baptist Church in Birmingham. Because when we say and produce one like it, we gotta show bus stop bishop the conditions, the circumstances, all the obstacles that the messenger had to overcome. Because the Holy Quran said, if you truthful, then call on those other than Allah and produce one like it. So it says, since you don't believe what my messenger's saying, you don't believe Allah is God, take all that my messenger has produced with my message. You take your message, you call on your God, and show us how you can produce the same. That's the only way we gonna see what's true and what's false. Because all of us, upon entering the Nation of Islam, we all had the same reaction to the picture of Master Farad Muhammad. Yes. The same way the disbeliever felt, many of us felt. We see this picture of Master, we like, who is this? He didn't look like a white man to me, but he didn't look black. So when I'm looking at this picture, I'm like, how in the world can this man be God? But Jesus gave us the best criteria and yardstick to measure to see what is what. He said you will know them by their fruits. Not by gossip, not by hearsay, not by bus stop bishop under a whole different situation and circumstances, and he's sitting back safe talking about the message. Now let's get into J.B. My most favorite white man in the world, because we don't want to miss a beat with J.B. We see that we're going to come back to this, but we're going to show you a few of J.B.'s public interviews. Because when I first saw J.B., I thought, because when you associate white people with the Ku Klux Klan, it's always thinking about the trailer park kind of white man. You know, the dumb white man with the pickup truck. He got the rebel flag on his truck. He's spitting tobacco. That's what I was thinking about, and his name J.B. So I'm thinking he's some old redneck white man in Georgia. No. Go listen to, I respect J.B. He was an intelligent white man. He was the Elijah Muhammad of the Ku Klux Klan. He was very intelligent. He hated niggas, but he was intelligent. When he got interviewed, he knew what to say. He kept it 100. He talking about a church bombing in 1958. So when the messenger talked to him and they got into it in 1957, J.B. was actively murdering niggas. He wasn't just talking. He wasn't just doing it for the camp. J.B. hated niggas. Let's go on in further. There's another YouTube old J.B. It says J.B. Stoner discusses his relationship with James Earl Ray and Martin Luther King's assassination in 1968. Hate niggas, killing niggas, don't care nothing about what you think. I ain't like that nigga Martin Luther King. He deserved to die. Defending James Earl Ray. Because J.B. had a law degree. So when he saw that James Earl Ray was being convicted or had a case about him murdering Martin Luther King, guess who popped up? Old J.B. J.B. said he knew James Earl Ray's brothers and one of his brothers was in the Klan with him. He ain't holding you up. When you listen to J.B., you really get to hear how the white man really feel about the black man.
I am J.B. Stoner. I am the only candidate for United States Senator who is for the white people. I am the only candidate who is against integration. All of the other candidates are race mixers to one degree or another. I say we must repeal Gambrell's civil rights law. Gambrell's law takes jobs from us whites and gives those jobs to the niggers. The main reason why niggers want integration is because the niggers want our white women. I am for law and order, with the knowledge that you cannot have law and order and niggers too. Vote white. This time, vote your convictions by voting white racist J.B. Stoner into the runoff election for United States Senator. I thank you.
This was in the 70s. Could you imagine living in Georgia, listening to a candidate for governor, then a candidate for senator, talking on the TV, saying how much he hate niggas, talking about how he think they should get rid of the niggas, because J.B. Stoner say, I believe in law and order. He said, but we can't have law and order with niggas. Could you imagine that? And you live in Georgia in the 70s. He ran for this, I believe, 1970 or 71. Now let's go to J.B. in 1974. This is a year before the Messenger. Now the Messenger got into it with J.B. in 57. Remember that. Right. This 1974 J.B. Because we usually think, oh, by 74, everything was straight, especially when we watch Savior's Day 1974.
A look at the accomplishments of the government established by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is this man.
That's right. Go ahead, National Secretary.
As a foundation, we have Muhammad's temples in every city of America.
Go ahead, that's right.
We have temples in Bermuda, Jamaica, Honduras, and even in England.
Right.
Educationally, we have Muhammad universities of Islam in 46 cities. This man is truly building the foundation for a nation.
Yes, sir.
In transportation, we have a fleet of cross-country tractor trailers, the most modern. We have a fixed base operation air aviation department in Gary, Indiana. Now we know that America also has many aircraft that, although excellent in design and suitable for use, they are grounded. We are already in contact with America to purchase some of these. Under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we are negotiating for the purchase of 2 or 3 cargo ships to carry across the ocean the various products purchased for our people in foreign countries.
Go ahead there, Father.
In fact, the first shipload of fish from the unpolluted waters around the South American country of Peru has already arrived in Mobile, Alabama. It carried with it some 1,000 metric tons of fish, or roughly 2,200,000 pounds. The second ship is already on its way. This one will carry 1,200 metric tons. And brothers and sisters, under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this will continue each month for the next year, at least. The only difference being that the poundage will increase. In order to be totally independent in this venture, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has ordered the purchase of warehouse and cold storage facilities there in Mobile, Alabama. Negotiations are already underway, and we expect to spend at least $1 million to prepare this facility for our imports. Now, we must remember that it hurts our enemy to see us in these broad fields. The messenger has taught us that the dragon will go behind the messenger to try to disrupt what has already been set up, and to try to turn the people of these countries away from Muhammad. But I tell you, they will not be successful.
We look at all that the messenger account. We think all that racist stuff was back in the 50s. But this was an interview they did with J.B. in the Atlanta Constitution, April 19th, 1974. It said, J.B. Stoner, racist, I don't have an image problem. This is what old J.B. said. The interviewer asked him any trade before law school. J.B. said, yes, sir. Fight niggas and Jews. He follows this with a 4-syllable laugh. The interviewer says, have you always had that occupation? He says, yes, sir. Been fighting for the white race ever since I was a kid. Been a white racist all my life. When I was growing up, everybody was against niggas, and Jews too. Well, still are. It's just that the Jew-controlled news media have them beaten down now, where they don't always express their viewpoints. When I was growing up, we all used to hate niggas. There wasn't none of this old, the good nigga and you marry her. We all hate these niggas. This was in 70. He done already ran for governor. He done ran for Senate. Now he just being interviewed. He accused of a church bombing. And this the devil they interviewing. And when he was running, since black people had been in public office, they was trying to censor his ads to say he can't say nigga on the commercials and his ads talking about how he hate niggas in the paper. But they say no, that's freedom of speech. JB can say what he wanted. You can say what you want to say. He can say what he. So he on the ads. You watching the football game, then the ad come on. I hate niggas. I'm law and order. You can't have law and order with these niggas. That was JB. That's what the messenger had to deal with. He didn't just say, "Oh, Master Farah, look at this picture. This God right here," and just go home. No. He had to deal with J.B. Let's go on even further. The interviewer asked J.B. He said, didn't you have a teacher or anyone who influenced your philosophy? JB say, no, sir. I never did like niggas. Still don't like niggas. I don't like niggas because they are a threat to the white race and the white civilization. So they try to take some of the fire off of JB and say, was this somebody who taught you? Because that's what they say today. It's so few white people expressing their hate. So every time a white person express their hate, we like to say, oh, he was taught to hate. His parents taught him to hate. So they just tried to take some of the fire off JB. Say, well, it had to be somebody who taught you to hate these. No, sir. I always hated niggas. Hate them now. Ain't nobody teach me this. This is how I feel about these niggas. So we go on even further. He said they're a threat to safety, to the safety of the white community, and America would be a lot better off, much better off, if she didn't have any niggas. He says, but back to the background. JB say, I don't like to go into too much background. Then the interviewer say, but somewhere along the line. JB say, no, sir. There's no somewhere along the line. I've always been this way. JB wouldn't get none of that. I hate these niggas. Yes, sir. Stop trying to get all of this where ain't got no. I hated these niggas from the womb. That's who the man. So we say produce one like. You got brothers in Atlanta selling Muhammad Speaks newspapers in the streets while you got devils like JB on TV. Imagine that. If JB feel that way, what about the regular everyday devil you see just driving up in Atlanta? Right. Produce one like. So JB goes on. He says, been a racist all my life. When I was growing up, oh, hold on, wrong. He says, are you from a big family or small? He say, I'm not interested in a whole lot of background. I don't look backward. I look forward. You see, I'm not self-centered and egotistical. As a child, were you around a lot of blacks? He said, I knew niggas, servants, and everything else. When I was growing up, I knew niggas very well. I'm no stranger to niggas. When I was growing up, I didn't know no nigga loves. JB turned. I don't love niggas, and when I ain't know no nigga love. Can you imagine that? This the same devil who ran for governor, ran for Senate, accused of bombing the church, and they interviewing him and he talking like that. So it makes it a little different now when you see Bus Stop Bishop. Where was you? Allah say call on somebody else besides Allah if you truthful. So in 1974, because we're not going to go back to the 50s. We're going to go to 74. Where was Bus Stop Bishop? Where was all these, we the real Jew, you the fake Jew, you is Esau? Where was you at 74? Because I didn't bring the part in this, because it was so long and I don't have enough time. But JB was talking about how he thought Jews should be exterminated in this same article. So if he hate niggas and he openly saying it, he feel, because there wasn't no such thing as this black Jew stuff. It was the white Jew. When he talking about the Jew controlled media, he ain't talking about no black Jew. He talking about the Jews we all know. So he say he hate Jews. He think Jews should be exterminated. So what you think JB would do if he saw the purple and gold? Gangers, fake tough niggas standing on the in Georgia. Not just quietly selling Muhammad Speaks newspapers like the messenger taught us to do. Muhammad Speaks. You the type of fake nigga that you got a microphone. You got big speakers. in J.B. Stoner's George, what you think he would do? You think he would be afraid and say, oh, look at the purple and gold? I ain't gonna say. He'll call them other devils. We got a bunch of niggas out here on such and such and so, just like he tried to do with the message. Let's go on even further with J.B. He said, when I was growing up, I didn't know any nigga lovers. I knew a lot of people when I was growing up. You've come along with all this race mixing propaganda in the last few years, screaming out, niggas are good, niggas are good. That doesn't make it true. It's just this propaganda. Cool. They pulled off. Most people still don't like niggas. I'm not unusual in my viewpoint. That was J.B. So let's go to when J.B. first got into it with the message. J.B. Stoner was reading the Pittsburgh Carrier. Because when I love J.B. You had preachers in the Pittsburgh Carrier who would try to speak against J.B. J.B. would tell them like them NAACP. J.B. will say, I'll put the pressure on the nigga or the white man in the NAACP and force you out, nigga. What you talking about? Because J.B. ain't like the tough talking. Nigga, I'll put pressure on you, nigga, to make you apologize. Nigga, shut your nigga mouth. J.B. used to read the pitch. You wasn't writing nothing and reading the Amsterdam, reading all the nigga newspapers. So J.B. doing his usual like every Klan, let me go see what the niggas talking about. Right. Then JBC, Elijah Muhammad. Hey boys, we got some nigga named Elijah Muhammad writing articles in the Pittsburgh Carrier storing up all the good niggas. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write an article to this nigga in the black newspaper. The nigga newspaper. To show this nigga who boss. So in the March 23rd, 1957 Pittsburgh Carrier, the title of the article, because when you read them articles, you can tell black people had a front row seat they ain't never seen in their life. We can see a leader of the Ku Klux Klan battling these black Muslims. So they titled it, White Fifth Crusade aims guns at Muslims. Let everybody know, look at what JB said to the Muslims. So of course JB do his usual white man stuff he was talking in, because it was a whole page article. So that next week, Elijah Muhammad, because the messenger was different from this hypocrite Louis Eugene. You said something to the messenger, you was getting a response. Yes. Whether it was in the newspaper, it was in the letter to the editor, if you was on a talk show, wherever they saw you, and you had the messenger's name in your mouth, and you said something sideways, they was responding. So the next week, the messenger, in the March 30th, 1957 Pittsburgh Carrier, it says, Mr. Muhammad answers White Fifth Crusade. We just gonna read a little bit of it. We can't read it all. It says so-called Negroes will soon lose love for their white oppressors. This is what the messenger said. He said in answer to the letter referred to above, the so-called Negroes' love for whites, the Negroes that love you and desire you are only those ignorant of the knowledge of you. This you do know. But as soon as they awaken to the knowledge of you, and they will soon, being the real devils, their open enemies, they too will not shake your hands, nor want to look at you, nor your shadow. For the truth of you will make all black mankind hate you. the messenger like, what's up then? We could see what it do. This was the message. We couldn't, in the Nation of Islam, it never was a time when we were just standing on the corner selling wolf tickets like bus stop. Bus stop in IUIC done been on the scene since 2003. In 2024, they had one confrontation with the police, one confrontation with the Ku Klux Klan, one confrontation with the mafia, and none of that. So how would it be fair to the message? That bus stop bishop not just sitting back. You know what? The Muslims, man, that stuff he lied, that was a white man. You just can just free, because the white man today let the black man do and say anything. He'll let the teacher of truth have a platform, speak when you want to speak, say, then he can have OnlyFans. You can go down to the weed dispensary and get weed in your cookies, weed in your lollipop, weed in your ice cream. You can be transgender. You can be homosexual. You can be anything goes today. It wasn't like that with the message. So when we say produce one life, we trying to show you the atmosphere that the messenger was in when he called on Allah. So let's go on even further. Because now we want to go to 1958 J.B. Because J.B. Stoner wrote to the messenger in 57. He was accused of bombing a church in 58. So let's go to 58. Let's see what happened with this church. This comes from the June 30th, 1958 Rutland Daily Herald. It says, Alabama edifice of integration leader badly damaged by explosion. And this was in Birmingham, Alabama. It says the church of a Negro integrationist leader, was damaged by a bomb for the second time in less than 2 years early Sunday. Now let's stop right there. Because not only do bus stop bishop talk bad about the Muslims, he talked bad about the Christians. Because the thing that we fail to do in this new school stuff, we talk about them Christians like, oh, he was just this Uncle Tom and he was just bootleg. Okay. We now, because of the messenger, don't agree with what the preachers was doing. But his church, this was the second time his church was being bombed in 2 years. Yeah, he thought integration, we all see integration don't work, but he believed this would help my people. Where was a nigga Jew? Nigga Jew ain't lead a synagogue. Nigga Jew with his yarmulke. He say, I don't eat pork, so the hell with them niggas. I don't care what they do. Now the nigga Jews out telling the preachers and telling the Muslims what we need to do. You need to get out of that church, preacher. I have more respect for a Christian preacher who believe in white Jesus than I do bus stop bishop. Them Christian preachers who believed in white Jesus still put their life on the line for the black man. Let's go even further. So that's the first point. His church was bombed twice in 2 years. It says the bomb exploded outside of the Bethel Baptist Church, of which Reverend F.L. Shuttlesworth is pastor, shattering windows and cracking plaster. It says the Negro minister said, a Negro motorist saw the carload of white men pass just before the bomb was discovered. So these the Christians now. They understand the threat of being down with Shuttlesworth. they love they blind, deaf, and dumb. But they love their people. And they doing what they think is right for their people. Where was bus stop? Yes. Where was IUIC? Where was all these niggas not telling the black man, oh, Elijah Muhammad, that was some white man. But we ain't see you nowhere in 58 calling on your God, who you believe in besides Allah, and produce one like it. Yes, sir. So let's go on in first. Shuttlesworth said, shortly before the 1:30 a.m. explosion, a smoking can containing dynamite was discovered against a wall of the building. He said William Hall, a Negro man, picked up the can and placed it on the edge of the street where it exploded in about a minute. So you got a black man who a Christian, believe in white, but he loved his people. He saw the dynamite up against Shuttlesworth Church, pick it up while it's lit, set it in the street, and it exploded a minute after he said it there. These was Christians. Where was chump niggas like Bus Stop? That's why I call that nigga a chump. Yes. He's a chump nigga. Yes. So let's go on in first. It says if he hadn't done that, the building would have been demolished. The Reverend Mr. Shuttlesworth declared the church and adjoining pastor's home were damaged heavily by a dynamite bomb December 25th, 1956. This Shuttlesworth, yeah, he a Christian, believe in white Jesus, but look at all he had to go through to do what he believed was right. He was willing to put his life on the line. The black man who was riding around the church at 1:30 a.m. alerted everybody, I see a group of white folk by the church. Another black man come up to the church, see the bomb, pick the bomb up while it's lit, it could have exploded in his hand. Yes. This was the black preacher. So what this nigga Bus Stop look like on Mother's Day? They did it here in Detroit. It was Mother's Day. All these elderly sisters, these big fat pot-bellied niggas in IUIC. Mother's Day is pagan. Why you need to leave the church? They ain't worth. This the stuff. Some of them old mothers know about Shuttlesworth. Some of them old mothers was a part of that. What you think they feel now? After all they saw, now they see these young niggas don't even respect. A young nigga that'll tell you should leave your white Jesus for this nigga Jesus you talking about that you ain't never sacrificed for. You never went to jail for. You never bust a head for. You never risked your life for. Nigga, I like my white Jesus. I respect them more than Bus Stop. Keep your white Jesus than to follow this nigga. You leaving the church, come to Islam. But if you ain't gonna leave the church, stay in there with you. This nigga fake too. Yes, sir. Let's go on in first. Now we want to go to the January 15th, 1963, Muhammad speaks. It says they wanted King or Shuttlesworth. How the Ku Klux Klan castrated Negro. First rereading how they bombing Shuttlesworth Church, they bombing his house over and over and over again. Now you got a black man that they castrate. They say they wish it was King or Shuttlesworth. That's what that's why the Holy Quran say stop the talking. Call on whoever you believe in besides Allah and produce one like it. When I was reading this article, They interviewed the Ku Klux Klan members who actually did the castrate. Because the brother who this castration happened to went to the temple. He told his story to Brother Jeremiah because he wanted his story to be put out. He wanted everybody to know what the Klan did to him. He didn't go to IUIC. He didn't go to a nigger Jew. He went to the nation. He felt like they had a paper and they got the courage to put my story out. Yes. So when you read this story, they had caught, the police caught the white men who castrated this brother and they interviewed him. The white man they interviewed said, we like the old preacher. They called him preacher. We like preacher. He said, but it just so happened when we was riding around looking for a nigga to castrate, we picked him up. Can you imagine that? They say they liked him. He wasn't no black man doing nothing to the white man. He was just a regular old black man minding his business. So the white man said, we like this nigga. He sounded like I hated we had to do it to him. But when we picked this nigga up, our intentions was to castrate and sorry fuck. So they castrate the brother. For what? Just for being a nigga. He wasn't bothering nobody. He wasn't doing nothing radical. He wasn't standing on the corner like these chump niggas in IUIC talking a bunch of wolf tickets. He was just minding his business. And he still got castrated. This was when the messenger taught us about God in person. Yes. He didn't just show us the picture and go home. Jesus said, ye shall know them by their fruits. So let's go on even further. Now let's go to when the messenger responded to J.B. threatening him in 1959. This part is one of my favorite too, because FOI was writing in to J.B. too, sisters, everybody. They was talking the talk with J.B. Let's see. Because we about to have our meeting, whatever date the meeting was going to be. Let's see. Because J.B. thought stoner when he threatened the Muslims in Atlanta. This was when Atlanta was just getting started in Atlanta. The temple in Atlanta started in 1955. So it was hard on the believers to get it going. Yeah. Because by the time they got to Atlanta, white people had kind of heard about these Muslims. So when they got down there and started trying to gain momentum in all of the newspapers, they saying the niggas is trying to get the South. All the niggas got the North. So now these is a few little niggas down here in Atlanta. Just couldn't get no traction. So in 1959, J.B. told the messenger, we gonna push y'all niggas in Atlanta in the sea. We don't want no nigga Muslims down here. This is what the messenger said to him. This the August 22nd, 1959, Pittsburgh Carrier. The messenger says, J.B. Stone, Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, who claims to be the arch leader, is trying to stir up trouble for the Muslims, and especially me. But I think and can say with certainty that if his people try doing such evil to my people, who are at peace with Allah and the world, they will baptize themselves into trouble that is not peace. Yes, sir. See how the messenger calling on Allah. Where was Busta? Where was this spook you talking about in 2024? Because the Holy Quran kills the noise. We hear you talking. You talking about my servant? You talking about what I revealed to him? Okay. Call on those who you believe besides Allah. If you truth. Because most of you niggas ain't truth. Right. You just a nigga who taking advantage of an opportunity. This nigga see Lewis is 90, 91. He ain't gonna say nothing. He producing brothers like Ben X. They kind of old my black brother kind of brother. He producing Nuri. Nuri done commercialized off Islam. He got his Corvette. He can drop the top. He got Wesley Muhammad. He sell a few books. They don't care nothing about the message. So this nigga Bus Stop taking full advantage of that. Yes. Because one thing Bus Stop said in this video that we need to clear up. After he said what he said about the message, he gonna say, I'm your brother and I love you. We got to clear that up. This nigga ain't none of our brother. Let's make that clear. The messenger said about a disbeliever and a hypocrite. He said the greatest desire of a hypocrite and a disbeliever is to turn the believer away from Islam. That's their greatest desire. He said, but if they can't turn away to believe, the believer too strong, the believer love Allah, the believer ain't going for it. Then the hypocrite and disbeliever would be pleased to turn your wife away, or turn your son away, or turn your daughter away, or turn your friend away. That what would please the disbeliever. That's why he says a Muslim is supposed to strive hard against the hypocrite and disbelief. That's what the messenger said. Yes. If a disbeliever talking against the messenger, he not your brother. He know he not. But what he want to do, he don't want you to fight back. So he mud washed the messenger. He see Farrakhan got all these weak Muslims. So he say, look, I'm mud washing who you say is the last and greatest messenger of Allah. I'm mud washing who you say is God every week. I'm trying to turn as many black people away from him as I can. But you my brother and I love you. Who going for that? No, sir. So let's go on even further with the message. We see the messenger calling on Allah. He told J.B. He says, I think and can say with certainty that if his people try doing such evil to my people who are at peace with Allah and the world, they will baptize themselves into trouble that is not peace. If the imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan attempts to be carried out on us, I will seek only Allah for our protection. This is the message. So if you was a Muslim, you see this beef. Maybe you thought, who is this Master Farad Muhammad? He look like he don't look black. How he got? Then you see J.B. You see how the Ku Klux Klan castrating black people. You see how the Ku Klux Klan bombing churches, bombing preachers' house, just killing niggas at will. Then you see little old Elijah tell the top head Klansmen in Atlanta, if this what you want, then this what you gonna get. But know this, I ain't looking to nobody but Allah for help. We ain't calling the police. We ain't calling the FBI. We only looking to Allah for just to let you know. And to let you know something else. If you try anything, you will be baptizing yourself in trouble that is not peace. That's the message. So we want to ask old Bus Stop, produce one like it. Let's go on in first. Messenger said, Mr. Stoner knows that 7 powers of Allah are ever ready to defend us in this resurrection. And he is not enough for one of the 7. So maybe you're a Muslim. Maybe you kind of straddling the fence. But when you hear the messenger talk like that, that kind of put a spark in you like, wait a minute.
Yes, it does.
He talking a lot of big talk to old JB. He ain't gonna call the police. He ain't looking for nobody to escort him down. He just gonna go down there to JB and only depend on this man he say is God in person. I still ain't convinced, but let me take a closer look at this Elijah Muhammad. So then the message. On the front page of the Muhammad Speaks, it says defies Ku Klux Klan.
Yes.
Elijah Muhammad invades Atlanta. Invade mean you at war. He say, I ain't calling no police. These brothers, therefore are the police. They depend on Allah, so we just gonna see what happens.
Yes.
So then when you see and you go into this this magazine or this newspaper, JB didn't even show up.
That's right.
JB didn't even come. I read the backstory to this. Jeremiah, when the messenger passed away. Because you already had FOI writing in to the Pittsburgh Carrier on JB. So they said the newspapers in Atlanta started talking about JB and them gonna march through the meet.
Yes.
So they was saying before they had the meet, it was Muslims who went to Atlanta to survey the perimeter. Because the messenger had an eye.
Right.
So before the messenger come, we gonna have FOI come before the messenger get there so we can see what we dealing with. So the brothers that was in Atlanta, talking to castrating, church bombing, hate nigga JB, told JB, real polite, real courteous. They said JB and the Klan disrupt our meet. We won't be responsible for what happened. Short and sweet.
Yes.
That's why I like the message. He didn't do no whole lot of talking. It was always short and sweet.
Yes, sir.
He got to the point. He told JB, I'm only dependent on Allah. And me and you know. These deaf, dumb, and blind niggas might not know. These dumb hillbilly hick Ku Klux Klan might not know. But you a little smarter than the rest of them. He said, me and you know that is 7 powers of Allah. And you ain't big enough for one. That's what the messenger told JB.
Yes.
So then that Muslim who saw the message, who might have been a little afraid, might have been a little doubt. After this, they all the way on board now.
Yes. Yes.
God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. That'll convince you. The messenger put JB in check.
Right.
But that ain't even it. In my conclusion, we got to talk about one of my favorite ministers, Jeremiah Shabazz. At that time, he was Jeremiah X. They don't talk a lot about Jeremiah. Jeremiah was one of the hard-working ministers for the message.
Yes.
He was down in the South with Dr. King. Most people never seen Brother Jeremiah with Martin Luther King. They shaking hands and smiling like they know each other. Jeremiah was in the South with them preachers. They saw Jeremiah. But the picture everybody like to show is this one.
Yeah.
They want everybody to be sick because this fit their narrative. They want to take the attention off Allah and his message. Put it on Malcolm. Malcolm was the one who changed Dr. King. But let's go to the facts.
Yes, sir.
And you tell me who more influenced Dr. King, Malcolm or Jeremiah? Let's go to the April 9th, 1964 Jet magazine. It says Black Unity Forum split over audience integration. It says a forum in Atlanta on black unity began with harsh words between the city's Muslim minister Jeremiah X, sponsor of the meeting, and Reverend Wayne T. Walker, Dr. Martin Luther King's top aide. See, it wasn't none of this old my black brother stuff with the message. Wasn't none of that. If you opposed the messenger's teachers in any way, you got harsh words.
Yes.
And the preachers wasn't even disrespectful like bus stop. But they got harsh words. Because Jeremiah was the one sponsoring a black unity rally in Atlanta. Down there with J.B. them. Down there with the we hate niggas them. Where was niggas like bus stop? These chump niggas. These niggas that wait till it's safe. Now you hear your God come. Allah say no.
Right.
He say produce one like it.
Yes, sir.
Same conditions. Same circumstance. Same hardships. All of that. So Jeremiah, down there with them preachers, he get into it with Martin Luther King's top aide. It says when Walker protested the Muslim ban on whites attendance at the forum, Walker withdrew on the principle that I can't participate in anything segregated. And Jeremiah later called the militant Reverend Walker militant. Just because he didn't believe in separate, that don't mean he wasn't militant. He was just with Shuttlesworth now. He just believed the best thing for the black man was integration. He loved his people too. But he deaf, dumb, and blind. So Jeremiah cutting into him. He said, it's Uncle Tom. He says, I can't participate in anything segregated. And Jeremiah called the militant Reverend Walker a tool of the white man. Several Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC members, were turned away from the forum because SNCC group was integrated. That's another piece of history we're going to touch on another time. Most of them militants that you know of, like Angela Davis, H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, they was in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And you hear they say some of them went with Wayne T. Some of them stayed with Jeremiah. They like, wait a minute. Something this man Jeremiah saying seems more logical than old Wayne T. Let's stay with Jeremiah. So then underneath this meeting, underneath that it says defiant Negroes attend Atlanta Ku Klux Klan rally. It says defying the last bastion of Dixie segregation, Atlanta Muslim minister Jeremiah X and an integrated delegation of Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee workers invaded a 1,000-strong Ku Klux Klan outdoor rally in Atlanta. Ignored threatening Klansmen who didn't want them there, listened to all the speeches they cared to hear, then left only when they were ready. Where was niggas like bus stop? The messenger checked J.B. so good. It put so much fearlessness in Jeremiah. Because I heard Jeremiah on YouTube. He said when the messenger told him to go to Atlanta, he was afraid. Yeah. Keep it real. You got J.B. them down there. I really don't want to go, but I ain't telling that to them. He ain't say that, but I mean, you could hear it in his voice. Because I love my league.
Yes.
But he said he was afraid. He said that he asked the messenger, what do I do when I get afraid? Messenger say, call on Allah.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me, said, brother, don't fear. Said, pray to Allah and ask Allah to take the fear out of you. And he did. And I didn't fear that devil. I stayed there and I went wherever I wanted to go. All in the backwoods because I used to be the correspondent for Muhammad speaks.
He said, ask him to remove the fear.
Yes, sir.
What you think happened to Jeremiah when he called on Allah? He removed the fear. So now Jeremiah going to Klan meetings. He going to the meeting. He finding out what a Klan that he going where they at. Going to the meeting. Listening to these tough guy nigga Klansmen who done castrated black people. Done hung black people. Talking all outspoken about how they hate niggas. But I'm up in this Klan meeting. Listen to what I want to listen to. Walk around how I want to. And leave when I get ready.
Yes, sir.
That was Brother Jeremiah. That ain't it. Another paper covered it. This is in the March 23rd, 1964 St. Louis Post-Dispatch. That's why it's good to read all of the articles.
Yes.
Because this added a little bit more than the Jet. Jet magazine said Jeremiah and them left when they got ready. But this part I like more than that. It says Craig, which was the head one up speaking at the rap. Now remember, this is thousands strong. Thousands of Ku Klux Klan members is at this rap. So Craig acknowledged the presence of Jeremiah X from the speaker's platform and said, I have more respect for Jeremiah than I do for the mayor of Atlanta. The Klan man. Now Jeremiah was the same brother who at first he was afraid. He didn't want to go to no Atlanta. The devil down there. The devil in Atlanta way different in Atlanta than he is in Philly.
Right.
He's still a devil. But they're a little bit better in Philly than they is in Atlanta. So Jeremiah told the messenger, I be afraid. Messenger say, call on Allah. Not only did the messenger tell us to call on, he said pray to him.
Yes.
We don't believe in a spook. We believe in a true and living God. The messenger said, don't just call on him one time. Call on him all the time.
Yes.
Always have him on your mind.
Yes.
Call on Allah. Ask Allah to take away the fear. Not only did Allah take Jeremiah's fear, He gave him respect.
Yes.
Same Klan's members who still hate niggas, but they respect Jeremiah. They respect him as a Muslim. They respect him as a man. Jeremiah doing what a man would do. A man would want separation from us. A man would come and leave when he get ready. A man would do that. A man would follow Elijah Muhammad. A man would do that. But a nigga like Bus Stop, a sit and wait, a scared nigga, a nigga that ain't gonna say nothing to J.B., but that scared nigga will wait. He'll wait till the circumstances change. He'll wait till the atmosphere change. He'll make to the situation, then he'll call on his fake God. Acting like, oh, that Elijah. You can talk about Elijah now, but you wouldn't have opened your mouth to say nothing. You think, in my conclusion, you think Elijah Muhammad would step to J.B., but he'll let Bus Stop Bishop tell him the Quran is toilet paper? Do you think that?
No, sir.
Do you think that the messenger would sit back and let Bus Stop have a picture of the Savior telling the black man he a white man? Do you think that?
No, sir.
Do you think that Elijah Muhammad would produce a minister like Jeremiah? Then he'll be satisfied with a nigga like Nuri. A nigga who gonna show the black man his Corvette. A black man who gonna sit and act like you don't hear Bus Stop. When Jeremiah going and step into the Klan.
Yes, sir.
That would be a waste of Jeremiah's time. Why I gotta step to J.B. them and they ain't gotta say nothing to Bus Stop? We went to high school with niggas like Bus Stop. J.B. castrating black men. J.B. bombing churches. But let's wrap this up. One last thing about J.B. In 1980, J.B. was convicted. It say white supremacist J.B. Stoner convicted. This was May 5th, 1980. It says the motive was hate. Prosecutor John Young III said in the closing arguments, he is a professional hater, a bold-faced liar, and a cold-blooded bomber. I doubt if you have ever seen a man so eaten up, so possessed with hate, like that man J.B. Stone. This was J.B. in the 80s. He got into it with the messenger in 56. Still the same J.B. They say when J.B. was sitting in the courtroom, he showed no emotion. He guilty hell. I'm guilty for killing niggas. You think he was mad? He always gonna be remembered for being J.B.
Yes.
J.B. Stone. He made a name for himself. Even though he did, you can go around any Klansman. Go on Facebook now. He got a Facebook page. They love J.B. just like we love the message. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I leave you as I came in the nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Enjoying the show? Help keep us on the air. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033 to make a donation.
Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent and merciful, soul masters day of judgment in which we now live. The alone do we serve, and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou spill thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served worship or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves and treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.